Now, if you look at the another use case, I am going to create an app called Todo App. In the Todo App, I am going to create a JUnit creations using slash tests, and also I am going to modify code as per our requirement. Okay, now we'll start that. So I'm not going to create any new project. I'm going to my Explorer in this project itself, right? Simple Java itself. I'm going to create an class called Todo App.java. So this is a Java class which creates to-do apps and also which creates and which updates which lists a to-do app. So we'll do that. Okay. First, before creating any to-do app, right, we need a to-do class also to store the to-do objects. So for that, first I'm going to create to-do.java, which has a model class, we can say. Now I'm going to remove this class here. I'm going to keep the package because we need package. Here I can click on Control plus I. And now we will ask the GitHub Copilot to generate me a to-do class. So I'm saying create a class called to-do. Okay, with fields. So what the to-do should have? For me, I should have an ID and the title of the to-do and also description, and also I need a due date to complete my to-do. Okay, with two string overridden also. So I have given some random description to my class, and we'll see how GitHub Copilot will take the input and create my class. So I have sent this request to GitHub Copilot, and if you see, it created an entire class for us, and it understand my context, right? What is the context I have given? It created. So if you see here, it created a class to do with ID, title, description, and due date, and also it created a constructor for me, even getters and setters, including toString method. So I like this, right? I want this, so I'm going to accept it. So my to-do class is ready. Now we are all set for implementing the to-do app. So in the to-do app, I'm going to remove all this thing, and again I'm going to ask GitHub Copilot to generate code for me. So again, click on Control plus I and type your requirement here. So what I'm going to say is create a class called to-do app. Okay, it's to-do app. So which creates a list of which has a field called to do items. Okay, and methods like add, update, remove, and fetch to do items. So, and also I also mention one thing called use to do class and array list for implementation. Okay, I have given some random prompt to it, and we'll see what happened inside our project. So if you see here, it has given a code which is to do app, which has an array list to do items, and the to do app is installed with the to do items with new array list, and whenever you call add, it will creates an item, add an item by passing a to do to it, and also you can update it based on the index, and also if you provide an index and to do item, it will update that particular to do item, and based on the index it will remove the to do items, and based on fetch, right, it will return. If you call fetch to do, it will return this to do items. I think this is perfect for me as of now, so I am going to click on accept. Okay, and we need to change this package and above before the inputs. Okay, imports. So I'm going to paste it above, and if you see here, our class is ready. So you have a to do app, and also you have a to do class. and inside the to do app you are going to create you are going to create a to do list items, and you are going to add item, update item, remove item, even fetch items. Okay, we are good, right? We are good here. The code has been generated within few minutes, and right, we are very good. Now our use cases get ready. Now we'll see the first item here, the JUnit creation slash tests. Now how can we create JUnits using GitHub Copilot? Okay, how can you do that? For that, again, you have to go to your GitHub Copilot chart window, and there you have to open new window because you are going to write JUnits. So for development, anything you have to use one window. For JUnits, you have to move to another window. In the new window, add slash tests. Okay, and do one thing first. Select all the class and add slash tests. So simple. That's it. You add just slash tests and click enter. Okay, so here it is automatically taking something called generate JUnit test for the selected code. Just click enter and we'll see what happens. So here your GitHub Copilot saying, sure, here is a set of JUnit tests for your to-do class. So magically it is creating JUnit tests for your to-do app class. And if you observe here, it is testing our class using JUnit. Okay, so you got this method which uses JUnits, which is to-do test app, and it is using these classes, and before each method it is doing some setup, and also it is doing some tests like to do app.add. It is adding a to do and checking equals or not, right? It is doing some assets equals asset trues. It is testing update. It is testing invalid index, and even it is testing the remove, and even it is testing invalid removing invalid index. So seems like it was very good for me. I just copy this code and I need to add a test class here. For that I am going to the Explorer. In the Explorer, go to the test package. Inside the test package, create your class. So I'm going to create my class as todo app test.java, and I'm going to paste all the information here like this. Okay. So here we have some issues with imports, right? We need some issues. So what we have to do is, since JUnits is not there in our pom.xml, we are getting that issue. So come to this pom.xml and click enter. We'll see anything we are getting. So here you can observe, right? The GitHub Copilot itself, you are giving a suggestions for the JUnits. So that was very fascinating, right? It understands the context of your code and you are trying to generate the JUnits. What your intentions also, almost it got it. So if you click on this tab, you accept this auto completion and save it. Once you save it, right, your build is automatically built. And there was some issue here, so we have to add the dependencies section. So yeah, we did this, and now pom is, so need to add dependencies. We need to close that. So we'll do one thing, we'll add this and we'll save this, and yeah, the pom is good now, right? The pom is good, and we'll go to the to do app, and here we'll see any issues we are getting. So we're good now. We need to use this quick fix, so to fix all the issues which are we're facing here. So we fix these issues, and to do has some issue, so we need to add some argument here, so which will create an normal constructor, and yeah, that is done, right? You have your to do test class itself. So I have fixed some import issues and now we are good, right? So now I'm going to run this test and see how our JUnits works. So here I'm right clicking and click on this run test in the current file and see what was the result. So here there was an error, right? Here accepted index out of bounds to be thrown, but nothing was thrown. So we'll check that, right? We'll check that. So there was a failure in the test. So one test got failed. So we'll take this message and go to our GitHub Copilot. So just copy your error message and go to GitHub Copilot and paste it. So don't type anything, just paste it and see what it will do. So the error message indicates there was an issue, right? So it is changing the issue. So the error message indicates that the test remove invalid index test accepted index out of bound exception to be thrown when trying to remove to do at index 1, but no exception was thrown. This suggests that the remove method in your to do app class does not have correctly handled invalid indices. Here is a proposed fix for the remove method in your to do app class. So in your to do app class there was some issue which is not handling this. Now we have fixed this issue. So I am copying this piece of code and I am going to my to-do app and replacing the to-do with this new code. So this new code, what this new code will do is it will remove based on the correct index. If index is not there, it won't remove it. It is doing this index check also. So now what we will do is here there was some issue because it has given to-dos, but it is to-do items. So we need to ensure these things, right? And add those and save your methods. Now come to your tests class. Not only remove index, your update index also failed. So even you copy this piece of code, right? Copy this piece of code, ask your GitHub Copilot why it's failed, right? You can type your own code also, own message also. I'm just pasting the error, that's it. And GitHub Copilot is intelligent enough to understand what we have given and it is giving a fixed code. The same issue. I'm copying this thing and going to my to-do app. I'm going to replace my update method like this. Okay. And here to-dos is replaced by the to-do items. So we need to ensure these things to be in sync. Okay. Now we are good. Now we'll go to-do test and again we'll try to run the tests. So run test in the current file and see now all the files has been completed. So the tests are successful. So now you can able to see, right? You can able to execute the JUnit test cases. So you created the JUnit test cases, you fixed the potential issues when any issues came during the JUnit test cases, and also you achieved all the JUnits getting completed without any issues. And you completed this whole thing within a minute, right? Which usually takes a lot of hours to complete. Thanks to GitHub Copilot. Now, modifying code as per our requirement. So if you see this point, right, we can modify the code as per our requirements. Actually, GitHub Copilot has been given. The GitHub Copilot is given the perfect code for you, but sometimes we have some other requirements to change our methods. So you can do that. Now, if you observe the second point, modifying code as per our requirement, we can try to do that. So just go to our VS Code and no, I want to delete based on description, not based on index. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, right? I'm going to ask the GitHub Copilot to rewrite this method. So we'll do one thing. We'll add a comment here. So I want to, or otherwise we'll do one thing. We'll type Control I, modify the remove method to remove the to-do items based on, right, for a to-do item we have the item rate based on item or based on name instead of index. So we'll see what will happen here. So the remove method is going to modify. We'll see now. So we are going to accept this method. Okay, so just save it and we'll see there was an issue here and that was because of anything different. Yep, we have this remove method which is already there. We need to remove these things, right, which additionally generated. I just removed it and just have a look here. So here now remove method receiving a string name, and for each to do we're going to get name. So the get name is undefined here. We need to search for the proper getter. So get title, here we need to use title, not the name, and which equals to this name. Then we are going to delete the to do. Okay, if it is not equal to null, we are going to remove it. And even if you want to further improve this code, you just copy this code and go here, right, and try review and refactor, and you can able to see some modifications or suggestions from the GitHub Copilot. So currently you can able to see, right, how can you modify your code. So it has given some modifications to use the latest lambda functions instead of using this complex code. And you have this remove if method which removes all the elements from the list that satisfy the given predicate, right? So this was very concise and simple code when compared to this. So if you want to use this code, you can use, otherwise you can good to go. And in the test method, we are getting some issues since we have removed the remove method. So we'll just remove these two methods, and here we'll ask GitHub Copilot to create JUnits for the remove method, and we'll see how it will create that. Right now it's created the JUnit for the remove method, and we can able to save this. And we need some one more curly brace, so I have added, and now we can able to see, right, there was no issues in the code, and the new tests also added in this code. So like this you can modify as per your own requirement.